It's February 26th, and this is what's going on today. My deer being buried underneath, and my lovely... Oh, church bells. Awesome. I have not been able to get out to that, but I can zoom in on it. And this is what happened last night. And my poor guys down there are all buried. I was out here earlier taking pictures. But, yeah, it's all pretty buried under here. Oh my gosh, I just look out there and there's nothing but white. I couldn't even focus. I think that's all, if you can see those grooves, like that's all a bunch of stuff that has fallen down from the trees themselves, sort of like they're doing over there right now. What if I do this? Nope, it's stuck. Oh, there goes some. Trees are pooping snow. Luckily I have my own little Christmas tree over there. So, this is, it's cold. It's cold. And it snowed a hell of a lot last night. I don't know if I get a good shot of this, but those are the bushes that are usually in front of my windows, and they're all bent over and down. And this is what it looks like on the back porch with all the birdie footprints. Not that you can really see very well out there, but actually this is kind of cool because it's like a wall of snow, basically. Oh, there's a hole you can see through, but all the rest of that, nothing but snow for now. So, and here is my back porch that I was out here taking pictures of earlier, and that's how deep it goes. And I do that with my hand. It was cold. It's still cold. Oh, actually when I took pictures, that entire thing, oh, there's a little bit left there at the end. It's almost all gone, because like that entire thing was just that deep. Kind of like this one. Like, I'm stepping out the snow. If you karate chop it, chop! That's cold. It's deeper than my hand, actually, if you can see that. Yeah. That's cold. And it's only going to be colder, as I don't know if you can tell, but it's still snowing out there. And there's my my barbecue, and there's the top of Ava's playhouse. So I'm hoping everything's able to hold up to all this snow out here. So I think if anything, and yes, back there is my mower buried. And if anything should be safe, I would think it's the stone barbecue. It should be just fine out in all of this. Okay, so now I'm inside, I'm all warm. Got my coats off, got my hands all dried off from karate chopping the snow. I did not go anywhere last night. I called in to work, whether it was appreciated or not. I was kind of in a conundrum what to do, because it's like, the storm didn't actually start until almost our shift did, so, but I knew like more was coming, like it was going to be, I mean obviously it did quite a bit overnight, you know, so, and the person I usually got a ride with had already called in, so I was like, do I try to find someone else, or, and then, you know, there was the whole drama with somebody trying to get me home in the morning, you know, when they don't live over here close, you know, it's not like they would be coming this way, they would be coming over this way, especially for me, and it's like, because we were supposed to get 8 to 12 inches, I believe is what the final tally they gave last night, but, I don't know how much we actually got, because, like I said, I haven't looked it up on the internet or anything, but, since I was stranded in today anyway, I thought maybe now is a good time to go ahead and actually get the Q&A video done that I promised like 3 weeks ago when I made the when I made the 500th video. And I have my list here, ready to go on the television. The first one we have is from Tony. I now know Tony is CoolMoD21. And I'm going to read this exactly as he has it posted. To start off your first Q&A video with its first question. Thank you, Tony. I've heard you mention going to school for a master's degree. What is this master's degree in? Well, it was in... I don't have a master's degree. Well, I went to school for a master's degree, yes, but I actually have a BA in communications with a minor in creative writing. I was working on a master's in communications when I gave up. So, I don't quite have a master's degree. I never did my thesis. There was a readings class that got in the way, and that I didn't do. And also there was a comprehensive exam that had 6 sections to it, and I failed one of the sections, and so I had to redo it, and I failed it again, so I was going to have to write a paper on it, and then it's just like, it was this deal where if you got too many conditional passes, they might call all of your work back into question, and it was like, I didn't have any longer to work in the computer lab anyway. So that's actually a video that I kind of plan on making someday about my whole college experience and stuff. So there will be more on that later. Trust me, I'm gonna, like I say with the Q&A video, I'm gonna do it someday, and we know with me, someday. And he has a follow-up question. What inspired you to go to UCM for both your undergrad and grad studies? Well, actually, I went to... It was CMSU when I went there. It changed its name to UCM right as I was almost getting done with my master's degree, I think. So, to me, it's more CMSU. But my friend Robert, who I'd known since 4th grade, actually went there. Like, that was really... I went because I knew there was going to be somebody I knew there. That's really the only reason I went to CMSU, is just because I knew Robert would be there. And that would be somebody that I could latch on to, because I was not a very independent person at the time, and I really don't like that guy that I was back then. I'm very ashamed of him, and I'm glad I am no longer him. So, really, the only reason I came to CMSU was because my friend Robert was here. That's it. And I stayed because it was familiar, it was safe, we'll call it. You know, I knew the campus, I knew the people, I'd worked in the computer lab for years, you know, like that was my first job, was working in the computer lab on campus. And so basically I just stayed for familiarity, I guess, because it was safe. It was safe. We'll say that. You know, it didn't rock my boat too much, you know, because there again, I was not a very independent, confident person back then. So, I mean, I can't claim to be the most, you know, confident person, not the most confident person out there, but I'm definitely a lot better than I was during my high school year, well, definitely my high school years, and definitely my college years, too. And he also asks, because he came back with a few questions, I asked for if anybody had any questions, any more questions, you know, let me know, because I was so far behind on making the video. I was supposed to make it last weekend, well, 2 weekends ago, and then I was going to make it a few days ago, and I didn't get around to it on my weekend either. So now that I have nothing, I'm being forced to sit down and do this. I wonder if I can get that guy filmed real quick. Oh, where are you going? Where's my zoomie? Where's my zoomie? I have a bird out there. I don't know what kind of bird that is, but he looks kind of dirty birdie. It's not a robin. He's gone away anyway. So now I have to see if I can set this back up where I had it, to where it doesn't fall over. Boom. You can see the snow, lovely snow outside. Have you ever been to any state outside of my native Missouri? I have. I actually had a list at one point going. Actually, it was a... Mom bought it for me for Christmas. It was one to hold the state quarters in, And then I left it in her basement. It got kind of moldy and ruined. So, but of course, I've been up to Michigan. You've seen that on the Vacay Day videos. So, you know, all the, like, Iowa, brain is not functioning. Those up there. I've been to Chicago, Illinois, on my senior trip, and I have been down to Fort Myers, Florida, because my uncle used to date a woman whose family lived down there, so we've been down there. I've been over to, like, Kentucky, Tennessee. I haven't been too far out the other way. We did go, we went to Oklahoma, I think, on one of our trips, and of course Kansas, you know, I mean, that's really close anyway. But we went up to, like, North Dakota, South Dakota, a little bit, I think, Wyoming. We actually, it was me, my sister, my mom, and my grandpa. Years ago, we went on a trip up to Montana to visit some family we had up there. And if I can ever find all my, like, we went and saw the Continental Divide, and we went on this trip that was called something about the gates. I can't remember, because when the boat came, there were these two rock walls that when you drove right at them, they looked like gates closing. It was pretty cool. The Sleeping Giant, which was, it was like this formation. I think it was a natural formation in the mountains. The hotel we were staying at actually said the Sleeping Giant room, so we were asking about it. And if you look at it, I mean, I got pictures of it. It looks like, you know, a giant sleeping. It's just like this form, and it looks like a nose and a mouth. And on our way out there, we went to Rexall Drug. I think it was some, like, drugstore out there. And that place that we did, I think we drove, like, right under Mount Rushmore. But there's this one where they're making this Indian and a horse in the rock. And, I mean, this was, like, years ago. I mean, you know, I'm turning 33 very soon, and this would have been when I was, gosh, when was that? Would it have been when I was a teenager, maybe? I don't know. I mean, it's been a long time. It's been years. I mean, it's been like at least a decade and a half since we've done this, and somebody just recently, like within the last year, went out and saw that, where I can't remember the name of the park, but it looked like nothing had changed. It didn't look like they'd made any progress whatsoever putting the horse in the rock and the guy. I think it's supposed to be like an Indian riding a horse or something, but yeah, it's kind of not a whole lot got done. But I haven't traveled very far. I mean, we did actually get up in Canada a few times, over in Sault Ste. Marie, Canada. There's like one in Michigan, and then there's a sister city. I just had a whole bunch of snowfall out there. There's a sister city in Canada, so we've crossed the line. Unfortunately, we did that. We've done it twice, and the second time was the year right before I started doing vlogs on YouTube. So I didn't get to take you guys to Canada, but maybe in subsequent Vacay Day videos, because this year, once I'm passing my 7-year mark with the place that I work, and I'm going to get 3 years. Wow, 3 years vacation. That would be great. 3 weeks vacation. Almost as good. It's not quite 3 years, but it's better than 2 weeks. So, so we might make it up to Canada for you guys again. We'll have to see. And then he has a dual question, which I will cover later, because somebody else asked the question that he asked at the same time. One of his other questions was, who would you like to meet in life? Who would I like to meet in life? Of course, well, I know Tony from the Power Rangers universe, and you know, David Yost was always my favorite Power Ranger, so meeting him would be kind of cool. Reba McEntire, I've always been a huge fan of hers. That would be cool. I probably should have thought about this one a little bit more before I just went off on it. But that's definitely two people that it'd be kind of cool to meet in real life, that I'd be interested in. Okay, and the dual question that Tony and Lacey Smiles 84 asked me was, what kind of music do I like and what are my favorite movies? Well, I remember there was one day, I think it was, we went up to Independence Center. It was a local mall here, and well, that was back when Circuit City was still there, so right across from the Sears, and obviously not there anymore. And I think in the same day I bought, like, I don't even know what band it was. It was some kind of like rocky sort of band, like Stained or something, and a Dolly Parton CD. So like I have really varying tastes when it comes to. I do have a lot of dance, like techno, pop stuff. Like I've really gotten into Romanian dance pop, like Alexandra Stan and Inna. Inna is one of my favorites. And of course, some J-pop or K-pop, whatever you call it, with the Girls' Generation and the so it's who's the other? FX, some Wonder Girls, and I like I don't know, like I like country. I'm not afraid to admit that I like country, so there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Though I can't think of a country song recently that I've been that interested in, because it's like I don't listen to the radio anymore. I don't. I mean, MTV and VH1 don't play, and CMT. I even have GAC on here. I didn't even know that. Great American Country, for those that don't know what the channel is. But it's just like I don't find they hardly ever play music videos anyway. GAC might. I don't know. I haven't really. But like at night, when VH1 or MTV or CMT would be playing music videos, I'm either at work or I'm watching a horror movie because it's dark. I'm trying to watch something scary while the atmosphere is right. So I put on my Pandora every once in a while, but I seem to go back to the same stations, like the Inna station and, stuff that plays. Did my lights just flash? Or was that... My lights just flashed. Okay. Okay. I am still with power. Other people don't have power. So if it suddenly goes dark... I thought maybe I just happened to blink my eyes at the wrong moment. I was like, did my lights just flashed? But, I have my Pandora, but I seem to go back to the same stations. I do watch Glee. I do listen to Glee music and that sort of stuff. So, like pop, popular music, some rock stuff. I don't know that I'm, I found songs and some bands that I've liked through my friend Mark, who's taken me to, some of these concerts like the Flaming Lips, and, we went to Bonnaroo a few years back, and, he introduced me to some interesting stuff, that, I haven't really checked out very much other than what I experienced, and I mean, I liked it, but I haven't really looked that much more into any of it further. But I did like it. About the only thing that I don't like, sometimes classical music. I'm not really interested in classical music, and like that hard rock, like where they're screaming the entire time, like I'm like, are you singing or casting a spell? I don't know what you're doing right now, Voldemort. Could you please stop it? Because I'm not interested. But so I mean, pretty much it's a mixed bag with me, and the same with movies. Favorite all-time movie is Labyrinth. I'm pretty sure I've stated that multiple times. I like the slasher movies. Like one of my favorite was Urban Legend. I liked Stir of Echoes. I like comedies, but I think I figured out that I like movies where, hopefully a lot of movies have gotten to become, fairly predictable, even the horror movies, but like movies where I'm not sure what's going to happen, like, even with slasher movies, you're not sure who's going to die next. People are going to die, and pretty much once they're set up in a scene where they're being chased, they're going to die, because, at that point, it probably can't be them. But, I'm going to watch some independent movies. Ooh, Dead and Breakfast. That's one of my favorite. Like, I tuned into that looking for a horror movie, and it is a horror movie, but it's like a cheeky, goofy kind of horror movie. So it's like you got the horror and you got the camp, and it has like the Greek chorus. The Greek chorus standing in for that in Dead and Breakfast is a country singing cowboy. So, and he sings he's got a little guitar, and he sings his little songs and stuff. So, Dead and Breakfast, definitely one of my favorites. I do have Cool as Ice down there. I have not watched that. That is the Vanilla Ice movie. I have my friend Jason to thank for seeing that in my entire lifetime. X2, I like the second X-Men movie. Not that I hated the others, but it was the pinnacle of X-Men movies for me. I was just trying to look over there and see what just kind of like off the top of my head. But so I mean, it's kind of there again, it's a mixed bag when it comes to movies. Kind of like a little this, little that, little other. So and then we have my friend Tanya at Geek Wisdom asks me to describe my ideal companion, platonic or otherwise. And since you know, I've had my videos where I say I'm happy being single, and I'm not, you know, so we'll go with platonic, I guess, a non-sexual friendly relationship. I guess I'm just, I don't know, don't be an asshole, you know. I kind of ran into that last night when I called in, but yeah, it was not appreciated by the person that I talked to that I was calling in, because it wasn't snowing yet, even though there was 8 to 10 inches that were on the way, you know. The person I talked to was pretty sure we were supposed to have an earthquake about 10 years ago, but whatever. So that's what I'm saying, just don't be an asshole. Like, I don't, like, as long as you're a good person, I mean, I like for you to have a sense of humor. I like because it's just like my friend Nick and I mean, we have, you know, and Mark has a bit of this too. It's like, we have humor of all different colors, so to speak, you know, like the off-colored humor. I mean, we are known to say some things that would not be socially acceptable, but we know we're joking, and, you know, so nobody really gets offended, you know, because it's just like, I mean, you know, with the Daniel Tosh issue, I mean, you know, there's a difference between, to me, to some of us, to some people, like, you know, a joke about rape and rape actually happening. Like, nobody actually thinks rape is a good thing, but that doesn't mean we can't also find it funny at the same time. You know, certain aspects, or, you know, like humor is definitely a good thing to have, you know, because a lot of times, like, I remember there was a new guy at work, who, he, like, ran into me or something, and, he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me," and I'm like, "I am never gonna forgive you." And he responded so hurt, he was like, "Why? Like, what did I do?" You know? I'm just like, oh my god, I have to explain myself to somebody. We have so many new people at work, they just don't, they don't know me. So I was like, you don't have to take me seriously. Most of what I say is a joke. You know, I joke around a lot. I say a lot of joking, funny things, you know. I try to keep the spirit light, you know, just kind of joke and have fun, you know, be jovial. You know, and I was like, so it's just like, it's like, most of the stuff I say I don't mean, so it's fine, whatever. So, so yeah, definitely, you know, don't be an asshole, don't be a dick, don't be a bitch. And like to have fun, you know, enjoy making jokes. They don't all have to be about rape, I'm just saying, you know, you can mix it up. Variety is the spice of life. I've said that many, many times. And my last question, from Nick's Video Diary. My friend Nick, who is actually starting up his videos again, he is doing some reviews of some Bath & Body Works products that he picked up for men. For men? What kind of word is that? For men. So if that interests you, go check. I don't think it's Nick's Video Diary anymore. I'll tell you what, all of these people, I will, at least the ones that make video, I will link them below, because I don't think Tony does videos. He just kind of watches videos. So, why don't you start making some videos of your own, Tony? Join us. Become one of us. Come to the dark side. I can't promise cookies, but I'm just saying it's a possibility. You know, whatever. So I will boom, link all those people down here. I'm trying to figure out which part of this that I want to answer first. I'll answer the second half of your video, or your question first, Nick. Also, I remember a video where you said you would investigate the scary crawl space of your house if asked to. Can we see it at night? Not today. It's cold. I thought it might be the warmest, might be warm under the house. I don't even know if I can get to it underneath all the snow. I do I mean, I've taken you guys up in my attic at one point, I remember. I've actually been thinking about investing in a night vision camera because there's some friends at work and I that are talking about doing some ghost adventuring, going out to some haunted locations and seeing what happens. See if we have any experiences, but I would need a night vision camera for that. And this camera, while a good camera, apparently does not do that. So if I ever, once it gets warmer, and if I get a night vision camera, that might be good. Though once it gets warmer, who knows what's going to be living up underneath my house. I've had raccoons, I've had a fox before live under there, so, well, at least underneath my back porch or whatever. So I'm saying someday, once again, the someday is coming out. Someday I will show you a video of my crawl space. I promise that to Nick and everyone else watching. I don't know when, I don't know how soon, but it will happen. And this isn't, this is an interesting question, and, you know, just kind of bring it back to why I do vlogs and stuff. Okay, my question is about the enemies you've made, because he knows at least one. Can you discuss any specifically, and how you have counteracted them, or perhaps how you have dealt with them? I don't hate a whole lot of people. I have what I would consider two. There is Angie. She was my best friend Jason, his wife, and I think they're still technically legally married. And she is a crack whore. Let's just call it, you know. I don't know if she does crack, but she is a whore. She cheated on him, and you know, she left him, and she came back a bunch of times, which, you know, it's Jason's fault for taking her back so many times. I mean, let's be honest here. But she would come back and claim that she loved him and use him and abuse him for a few days, or however long she needed to, you know, pull him back in. Don't let yourself get pulled back into a stupid crack whore bitch. Moral of the story. So there's that. And the second one would be, I don't know if he'll come across this video or not. Angie probably will never. And maybe it'll help him understand why I don't shake your fucking hand when I come to my uncle's house, Bruno. Because I'm going to lay it out right now. And perhaps someday Bruno and I will have a conversation about this. I try to, when we're at my Uncle Mike's house together, I try to just not interact, because I don't want to, you know, my mom's working the parties, I don't want to upset my Aunt Laura, I don't want to upset my mom, you know, or anything like that. I don't want to make it worse on her. So I just kind of try to avoid the situation, which is, you know, what I do generally. Because I'm not a fan of conflict. I think it's because I grew up, you know, having to hear my parents fight. I'm not good with the conflict, so I just kind of try to avoid it, you know, sometimes as much as possible. Though on the internet, I have a lot more balls. My internet balls are a lot bigger than my real life balls. But he was dating my mother, and actually he was letting her pay for a lot of things while they were together. And then he disappeared for a month. Didn't call, you know, didn't come by, just kind of dropped her and disappeared for a month, and then had the audacity to show up at one of my uncle's parties with a new woman. So that is why I don't like you, Bruno, if you happen to come across this video. That is why, just don't try to interact with me. It's one of those things, it's just like, it's kind of like, you can actually hear him in one of my videos, the 4th of July video. You can hear him telling me to grow up. Like, me being immature is the only thing keeping me from pushing you down the stairs right now, Bruno, so perhaps we should just let it be. But generally, yes, that is, I avoid the situations as much as possible, you know. Or sometimes I feel like I did write, I feel, because when I get mad, when I get angry, like, my thought process is not there the way that it should be, and I don't get to explain myself the way that I feel is appropriate. So for me, it's better to write someone a letter and, you know, let them know than have kind of a face-to-face sort of thing, because I don't feel like how I'm feeling gets properly explained. So I did send Angie a letter. I did send her an email. because she sent me an email after, the big blow up or whatever, and she'd already came back once or twice and used my friend Jason again, under the guise of still being in love with him. And she was like, "Oh, I hope we can still be friends," and blah 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 blah. And I just laid it out. I'm like, well, you did wrong, and I'm gonna have to see that, you're honestly sorry, and you are, like, not compassion, but remorse. Like, I have to see that everybody is getting treated the way they deserve to be treated, and until then, I'm not really sure how our friendship is going to work out. And then, of course, after that, because I told her that, it was basically like, fuck you, I don't want to have anything to do with you. I'm like, that's fine, whatever, But so yeah, if I don't avoid the situation, and for whatever reason I avoid the situation, because I don't like conflict. I am not, I'm not really good with the conflict. I mean, there's been 2 instances at work where I've kind of blew up at somebody. Well, I blew up at the one person. The second person blew up at me first because I was trying to tell them they needed to do their job. And that kind of started a whole thing where I thought I was going to get my ass beat at work, which was interesting. It was one of these things where, since I'm talking about conflict, another example, he would go to his aisle and work. It was during a time when we were still downstacking our freight. And instead of going, because he just thought it was ridiculous that we were downstacking. He just thought it was a huge waste of time. While that might be true, it was our process, and it's what we do, and it's what everybody did at the time. If you were a member of grocery, if you were putting grocery, you helped downstack because that's where all the freight was. The freight was in these pallets that we had to downstack. So instead of helping, he would go to his aisle and start working. And of course, that led to people talking behind his back because he wasn't being helpful. And instead of doing what he knew he was supposed to do, he just continued to do things the way he wanted to do things instead of the way that was the best for everyone else. So that's kind of how that started. And then another night, he just went to his aisle and he was working. And I went up to him and I was like, "We're going to need you to help us downstack." And he just blew up at me at that point, So he was like, "How do you know I wasn't blah, 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 blah?" And, and I mean, I think it kind of took me by surprise because I just didn't really expect him to react like that, I guess I expected a, yeah, whatever, or I'm doing this, leave me alone sort of thing, but it kind of turned into a verbal skirmish where the evening girl, she was like, "Hey guys, we're on the floor." I was like, "I realized that." It was just kind of one of those times where I ended up it took me by surprise. I ended up having to stand my ground face to face, and he kept saying, he's like, "Why are you still standing there? Why are you still standing there?" And at one point I was finally like, "I don't know." And I just threw up my hands and I walked away, and he followed me. And he's like, "Okay, let's go to the office. Let's go to the office. I'll tell him you're telling me what to do." And I was like, "I never said I was going to the office. I'm going to get what I need to do to get my job done." Because I was going to get blue cards. And we kind of walked together, and he started to split off to go to the office, and I went to the back to get blue cards, which was probably a bad idea. Because that's where no witnesses are. But he got on the phone, and I think he paged management, and I don't know if he talked to management or what. But I mean, after he got off the phone, he ended up going out and helping him downstack. So he ended up doing what he was supposed to be doing in the first place. But I had a talk with the girl later, and I thanked her for trying to calm us down, and I explained the situation to her, and she was like, "Well, maybe, once heads are cool, tell him," because I mean, this was somebody who was already in trouble with management, and like I wanted to give him a chance to correct it himself instead of going to management and giving them another notch against his belt, basically, giving them more ammo against him, I guess, whatever, I was trying to give him a chance to correct it himself and do the right thing without involving management, who already kind of had their eye on him anyway, you know. And so, you know, I told him that, well, we came in from getting carts. We used to go get carts, and I didn't want to do it on the floor. I didn't want to do it around people. So I found him in the back, and he just happened to be standing there, and I was like, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" And then without giving him a chance to respond, I was like, you know, I told him, I'm just like, I didn't want to get you in trouble, you know, with management, you know, and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, well, I appreciate that, you know, and he was like, I'm sorry if I offended you, or I'm sorry if I was rude to you, or whatever. And of course, in my mind, I'm thinking, if you were rude to me? Like, if? But at that point, it was time to just let it go. and just let it out, you know. We kind of talked it out, and then, like, the next night at work, I don't know if he'd completely forgotten it happened or whatever, but, like, we were discussing movies while we were waiting to unload the truck, so, I mean, you know. And the other person, she was just somebody who worked hard at not working at all, and I went by her, we were pulling the meat and produce truck, and I went by her aisle twice, and I'm like, hey, we got a meat and produce truck, you know, and she just stood there, she just kept walking, or she just kept working her own aisle, instead of helping everyone else. She just did her own thing, you know, and so after it was done, and I remember there was another coworker, I heard him calling my name behind me, and this is why, like, I was mad. Like, people don't see me mad very often, but this was probably the first time anyone got to witness it at work, because I had it in my mind, I was going to go out and give her a piece of my mind, and I heard someone calling behind me, like, Jason, and, like, he finally was like, Jason, and I kind of, like, stopped, I turned around, I went like this, and then I turned back around, and, like, I was pulling a pallet jack very angrily behind me, you know, because I had gotten done pulling the truck, and I needed my jack for my aisle. So, I'm gonna have to finish telling the story because it's blinking at me. But, so I went out there, and I approached her in a raised level of voice. I wasn't expecting to yell, but it just kind of came out that way. And I was like, so, by the way, just so that you know, for future reference, when I say, we have a truck, that means you come help. You come help pull it. And then she tried to be like, well, I'm leaving early today, and Dave knows that, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so what? When anyone else leaves early, they come and help with the truck. You know, I'm like, you're a member of grocery, and this is grocery's work to do. And she's kind of like, meh, meh, meh. She didn't even give a shit. And of course, it's not like it changed anything about her. She just kept doing whatever she wanted to do until she finally got fired. And then guess what? She got her job back at another, like half an hour away. She got her job back with the company and got fired from that one too. Oh, sweet justice, sweet justice. But, so, since this is, I have 1 minute of taping time left, and it's flashing at me, I guess I have 1 minute of battery, and I don't know how much time left on my card. So, I've jabbered on for long enough with my Q&A, because I don't know how to shut up on a regular basis, and I'm doing it again. So, I think I covered everything there, and, I'm getting a call, but I put it on silent so that it wouldn't interrupt me. And I have no battery power left now, but it's still recording. So, hopefully I've answered. If this brings up any other questions for anyone else that wants to ask, if you come across this video and have a question that wasn't answered, whatever, just message me somehow, comment, you know, send me a message, whatever, and I'll make a second Q&A video for whatever's left over. So, hopefully you all are warm and safe today, as you can see what happened outside here, and thanks for your questions, and I hope you enjoyed sitting here for a very long time hearing me answer them.